when the U.S. Navy sends not one but two aircraft carrier strike groups to a hotspot like the Middle East, it's a clear, unmistakable signal. The arrival of both the USS Abraham Lincoln and USS Gerald R. Ford isn't routine. It's a deliberate show of overwhelming force. Two nuclear-powered carriers, with their escorts and over 100 advanced fighter jets, create a concentration of firepower that's impossible to ignore. This isn't just politics, it's a practical deterrent, making any hostile action prohibitively costly. The dual-carrier presence means the U.S. can project air dominance, absorb a first strike, and retaliate with devastating effectiveness. It's a logistical feat involving tens of thousands of personnel and a vast support network. The message: the U.S. can control the tempo and outcome of any conflict, shaping events rather than reacting to them. This is the ultimate insurance policy, guaranteeing decisive advantage in the region. Running a single carrier at full tempo is exhausting. Two carriers, however, operate in a relentless, alternating rhythm. Instead of both launching planes together, they trade 12-hour shifts, one active, one resting. This ensures constant air power. While one crew and ship recover, the other dominates the skies. The cycle prevents burnout and catastrophic equipment failures, keeping both ships and crews at peak performance. For adversaries, there's never a break. American jets are always overhead, day or night. This unending presence denies the enemy any chance to regroup or operate unseen. The tag team approach turns two carriers into a single, tireless weapon system. It's a psychological and tactical advantage that dominates the operational theater. The dual-carrier force pairs the battle-tested USS Abraham Lincoln with the cutting-edge USS Gerald R. Ford. Lincoln, a veteran Nimitz-class carrier, is the reliable workhorse, ideal for demanding night operations. Ford, the largest and most advanced warship ever built, boasts revolutionary tech like EMALs for rapid, smooth aircraft launches. Its automated defenses and advanced radar make it a formidable daylight operator. By dividing shifts, Lincoln at night, Ford by day, the Navy leverages each ship's strengths. The old guard brings experience, the new guard brings speed and automation. Together, they create a force far more capable than either alone. This pairing ensures total dominance, 24/7. Two carriers are just the centerpiece of a broader strategy, total overmatch across sea, air, land, space, and cyberspace. The first move: U.S. Space Force and Cyber Command blind the enemy, jamming satellites and crippling communications. Next, decoys and stealth fighters dismantle air defenses, clearing the way for strikes. B-2 bombers deliver massive ordnance to destroy hardened targets deep inside enemy territory. Tomahawk missiles from submarines and surface ships shatter command centers and missile depots. Each phase is precise, overwhelming, and designed to eliminate threats before they can retaliate. The dual-carrier presence enables this multi-phase assault, ensuring persistent pressure and flexibility. This is modern American military power, coordinated, relentless, and decisive. Today, February 27, 2026, many people are looking at a map of the Middle East and asking a very important question. They see the USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest and most powerful aircraft carrier, positioned off the coast of Israel. This is, honestly, pretty unusual. Typically, a warship of this magnitude would be stationed closer to a potential adversary like Iran. Its placement near a friendly nation has sparked global attention and, well, a fair amount of concern. The presence of this $13.3 billion warship, the largest ever built, is not just a simple show of support. It is a clear and calculated move in a much larger, high-stakes geopolitical game that is unfolding right now. The reason for the Ford's unique position becomes clear when you look at where its sister carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, is located. The Lincoln is currently in the Arabian Sea, approximately 850 kilometers from the coast of Iran. This strategic separation reveals a new and highly significant American military doctrine. For the first time since the Pacific theater of World War II, the United States has split its carrier force into distinct offensive and defensive roles. The Lincoln is postured as the sword, ready to launch overwhelming airstrikes against targets inside Iran. It represents the offensive power of the United States, poised to act if a decision is made to strike. In stark contrast, the USS Gerald R. Ford serves as the shield. Its primary mission is not to project power into Iran, but to defend Israel. The carrier and its accompanying strike group are equipped with advanced Aegis missile defense systems. This creates a powerful protective dome, or defensive umbrella over Israel's major population centers. The Ford's role is to intercept any retaliatory strikes from Iran, such as ballistic missiles or drones that might be launched in response to an American or Israeli attack. This division of labor is a fundamental change in how the United States is preparing for a potential conflict in the region. This dual carrier strategy is about controlling every phase of a potential conflict. By assigning one carrier to offense and the other to defense, the U.S. military is attempting to manage the battlefield in a completely new way. The Lincoln holds the threat of a devastating first strike, creating a powerful deterrent or a ready weapon. Meanwhile, the Ford aims to neutralize Iran's most predictable and dangerous response, a retaliatory missile attack on Israel. This carefully constructed military posture is designed to shape the choices of all actors and set the stage for a conflict that would unfold on America's terms, not Iran's. The positioning of the USS Gerald R. Ford is a brilliant and honestly chilling piece of strategic planning. Its purpose is not to prevent an escalation of conflict. Instead, its placement is designed to guarantee escalation, but strictly on terms favorable to the United States. By creating a defensive shield directly between Iran and Israel, the U.S. has created a situation with no ambiguity. If Iran chooses to retaliate against Israel for any potential strike, its missiles or drones will have to fly directly through the defensive envelope of an American carrier strike group. This is a critical detail that changes the entire dynamic of the confrontation. This setup effectively removes any political debate or decision-making from the immediate aftermath of an Iranian attack on Israel. An Iranian missile or drone passing through the Ford's defensive zone and being engaged by American forces would not be a separate incident requiring a new response. It would be a direct attack on a United States naval asset. This act would automatically trigger a massive, pre-planned American military response. The initial limited strike, wherever it came from, would instantly transform into an act of American self-defense, compelling allies to participate under treaty obligations and framing the subsequent larger war in a way that is politically and legally justifiable on the world stage. This strategic checkmate is backed by the largest American military buildup in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The numbers are staggering. We are seeing 2 full carrier strike groups, totaling 14 U.S. Navy ships and over 150 advanced aircraft. In an unprecedented move, the Pentagon has also deployed a squadron of 11 F-22 Raptor stealth fighters to Israel for the first time ever. These are America's most sophisticated air-to-air combat jets, designed to ensure total air supremacy in any conflict. This is not a simple reinforcement, it is the assembly of an overwhelming force prepared for a major war. Furthermore, a significant logistical shift has occurred. The Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which was previously a key hub for U.S. operations, has been systematically drained of its assets. In just 26 days, all 18 of its crucial refueling tankers were moved. This repositions America's strike architecture safely behind Israeli air defenses and out of the immediate range of Iran's missile arsenal, which proved its lethality in a strike on the base in June 2025. Every piece on the board is being moved into position for a conflict, with the Ford acting as the ultimate backstop, ensuring any Iranian move against Israel is also a move against the United States. The military buildup is only one part of the story. In the last 72 hours, an even more alarming signal has emerged: a massive, coordinated evacuation of foreign citizens from Iran. At least 15 different governments have issued urgent orders for their nationals to leave the country immediately. This list includes not just Western nations like Canada, Germany, and Sweden, but also major global powers such as India and Brazil. The sheer number and diversity of these countries acting in unison is extraordinary. It strongly suggests that they have all received the same high-level classified intelligence briefing about the strong likelihood of imminent military action. The most shocking and significant evacuation order came from Beijing. China is Iran's most powerful ally, its largest oil customer, and its primary diplomatic shield on the world stage. Yet the Chinese government ordered all of its nationals to evacuate Iran immediately, citing significant security risks. This action speaks volumes. China has extensive intelligence assets and deep connections within the Iranian establishment. For Beijing to publicly abandon its partner in this manner indicates that its own intelligence points to an extremely high probability of war. It is a signal that China is not willing to risk its citizens' lives and has likely concluded that a conflict is unavoidable. These civilian evacuations are a powerful, non-military indicator that complements the military movements. While armies and navies can position themselves as a form of deterrence or coercive diplomacy, the act of pulling civilians out of a country is a far more definitive statement. It is an admission that diplomacy is failing and that the risk of violence is unacceptably high. Governments have a primary duty to protect their citizens, and such a synchronized, widespread evacuation is one of the clearest warnings that the window for a peaceful resolution is closing, or has perhaps already closed. The financial markets, however, seem to be telling a different story, creating a dangerous disconnect. As of this morning, oil is trading at $92 a barrel. This price suggests that investors and traders are still betting on a diplomatic solution and do not believe a major war is imminent. This optimism stands in stark contrast to the actions of at least 15 governments, especially China. While the markets are pricing in peace, the world's intelligence agencies and foreign ministries are pricing in war. This disconnect between market sentiment and state-level action is deeply concerning, and suggests that a violent shock to the global system could be very near. What makes this moment in February 2026 so uniquely perilous is the simultaneous convergence of three major warning signals, all at their maximum intensity. The first is the massive military buildup we have discussed. The second is the widespread, urgent evacuation of foreign civilians. The third, and perhaps most critical, is the severe internal collapse currently crippling Iran. The regime in Tehran is facing a domestic crisis of unprecedented depth. Its economy is in freefall, operating at just 39% capacity, with the stock exchange plummeting by 40% and a staggering 81% collapse in job vacancies. The country is, quite frankly, breaking down. Iran's internal situation is desperate. Multiple provinces have reached water day zero, meaning their access to sustainable water has run out, fueling social unrest. The government is resorting to extreme measures to control its population, including cutting electricity to entire streets before security forces are sent in to shoot protesters. Since late December 2025, human rights groups have reported thousands of deaths in a brutal crackdown on widespread demonstrations. With 60% of its industrial base no longer functional, the regime's ability to govern is eroding by the day, making it both desperate and unpredictable on the world stage. This combination of factors is what makes the current situation unlike any other in the 45-year history of confrontations between the United States and Iran. In previous crises, such as the period following the killing of Qasem Soleimani in 2020, or the limited conflict in June 2025, at most two of these signals were present. There has never been a time when a massive external military threat, a global exodus of civilians, and a near-total internal collapse have all occurred at the same time. This perfect storm of pressures creates an environment where the chances of miscalculation are dangerously high. As diplomatic talks in Geneva collapsed yesterday, and U.S. officials issue stark warnings, the situation is balanced on a knife's edge. The strategic placement of the USS Gerald R. is the linchpin of America's strategy, ensuring that if a conflict begins, it will immediately become a full-scale war involving direct U.S. engagement. The convergence of these powerful military, civilian, and internal signals paints a grim picture. We are witnessing a rare and extremely dangerous moment, where all indicators point not toward a potential crisis, but toward a war that many powerful actors have already decided is coming.
Today and get access to exclusive benefits, including early access to new videos, exclusive discounts on Intel products, behind-the-scenes content, live chat with me and other members. Other options will be soon available. Thank you for your support and for helping Intel Prime grow.